Right, welcome also from my side. Today I will present Childlessness and Inter-Temporal Fertility choice. So the thing is motivated basically by the fact that when we look at the intensive margin of fertility, namely completed fertility, conditional having children by birth cohort, we see that this is essentially decreasing since the 1930s. But starting from birth cohort 1945 and later, we actually see an increase in childlessness as well. And most of the traditional economic models of fertility choice can't really tell you a lot about that, basically because the quality-quantity trade-off only works if you have at least one child. So what I do in this exercise is I decompose childlessness into voluntary childlessness, which can be poverty-driven and driven by opportunity costs, and involuntary childlessness, which is driven by sterility and by postponing having children. And the most part, I will talk about this postponement of fertility. I have a very simple model in mind. So at the beginning of your life, once you have completed all your education, you get matched with a potential partner, and you decide, hey, how many children do I want to have in my life, and when do I want to have them? Do I want to have them early or late? And that has huge implication for your career, right? So you decide whether to have a career first, children later, or children first and career later. And then you get matched with a partner and decide whether you get married or not. And over time, you have certain shocks to your fecundity. The first one is sterility. That means you can never have children. And the second one, which I kind of incorrectly call infertility, is essentially just a biological decline in fecundity. I just like to use two different terms for it to avoid confusion in the paper. So essentially, all decisions are made at the beginning of period one in the model. So essentially what people do is they optimize their lifetime utility. They obtain utility from having children, so children are a normal good, and they obtain utility from consumption. And they're subject to a budget constraint. Basically, they have 1 unit of time in each period, and they can either work and have an income, or they can have children. And children are costly in terms of time, and if you have your children early, you're gonna lose a lot more in terms of experience, which will give you higher wages in the next periods. So what people essentially do is they optimize all potential outcomes that they have, whether they're married, whether they stay single, whether they have the children early and late, and then pick the option that works best. And if they decide to get married, then that's the optimal outcome for them. So I then pin down these parameters that I have here, like these, like theta, nu, and all the other parameters of the model, by using simulated method of moments. And what you see here on the left-hand side are the empirical facts that I used to pin this down. What you see in the top parts, this is the fertility conditional on being a mother at some point in your life. And you see that highly educated women postpone having children more than low-educated women. And that makes them more likely to end up childless due to this postponement effect, because biological fecundity is just decreasing over time. I pinned down the biological fecundity from the Hutterites, which is often used in literature. And all those moments are measured at the age 45, when all individuals have completed their fertility. Okay, so the question is whether, so what you see here also on the left-hand side is like the model fit a little bit, so I catch most moments quite well. The question is, do we actually measure something meaningful? So what you see here is the childlessness rate by birth cohort, by population weighted. On left of this vertical line is the time that I used to calibrate the model. Right-hand side is afterwards. And essentially, I do actually catch the childlessness in by birth cohort. So now, what can we actually say about the reasons for childlessness? This pure sterility is actually decreasing with education. This postponement effect is increasing with education. And on the right-hand side, you always see this population weighted at the population, for the population size. But most of childlessness is actually driven by poverty or by optimal behavior of never want to have children, because they cost too much in terms of income. And so the main takeaways are that the majority of childlessness in Germany is voluntary. This postponement explains about 6.1%, and that depends, of course, on your education and whether you're married or not married. And I also do counterfactual experiments, basically social freezing, and availability of childcare to reduce those things. If you're interested, go ahead and read the paper. Thank you very much for your attention, and I hope I'm in time.